Welcome back, guys. Let's continue today with next topic. According to me, the practical that I'm going to show you today is so much interesting, very unique, and you will definitely like this practical. Even though very simple, but the idea behind it is very important, very use case, and very much important also. Okay, what I mean by this, let me first explain you the concept. Okay, but for today's guys, I need again two computers because we are going to build the pipeline of the Jenkins. Obviously, I'm talking about the Jenkins pipeline. Okay, about the Jenkins pipeline that we are going to build today. Okay, give me 1 minute, please. 1 minute, guys, please. Yeah. So today's topic is very unique, and what are unique about this topic in a minute you come to. Okay, so what technically we are going to do today, you guys know, in the last class we had created a pipeline that's called Jenkins pipeline. Okay, and the pipeline we created multiple stages, and I told you guys stages is something like a job. So we have stage 1, we have stage 2, we have stage 3. Okay, and what we did, okay, we allocate this stage per node or per slave. Okay, so let's say this is the node 1 we assign, this we allocated with node 2, this stage or this job we allocated to node 3. But all these jobs or stages are solving one particular use case. Okay, let's say my first stage is downloading some data from GitHub. Okay, this is what they're doing. Okay, this is my first stage. Second stage is building my code with Maven. Third stage is deploying my code. Let's say they're using Java or some app server to deploy my code. Okay, so technically we have multiple stages or maybe multiple jobs. We connect all the stages of the job with the pipeline just for good management. And one of the big reasons why we done this, because I want every stage and every job to be allocated to their respective node. And this node has their customized environment, because here we need the Git command, here we need Maven command, here we need a different tool or different app server, different like Java command. Okay, that's the reason, guys. We want every stage or every job to be independent, but here technically we are solving one single use case. Okay, we are actually creating a single pipeline for one single code. And that's what, guys, we discussed multiple times already, and we have seen this practical in two different contexts where I show you how to set up this node statically or how to set up this node dynamically. Okay, but especially, guys, in this dynamic world, we will have one challenge, and that's what I want to show you today and solve today. Okay, I don't know, have you noticed this challenge or not? Okay, the challenge that I'm going to explain you right now. The challenge is if you run this pipeline. Okay, guys, this is a very, very critical challenge, and without solving the challenge, this pipeline or this setup will not work. Even though in my last class I showed you that practical was working properly, technically there was no challenge. Okay, but I have done some small manipulation in my last class. Nobody by chance have noticed. I think one guy noticed. He also asked me in the Q&A, and I asked them to, in the next class we're going to discuss this. Okay, so by chance, guys, in my last class I did one small manipulation. That is the reason my code from GitHub downloaded, Maven build, and we also run my Java code and deploy. Everything was working nice. Okay, but I did one small trick, but this trick won't obviously gonna work in our real use cases. So let me first explain you what actually challenge I'm talking about. Okay, so it is something like this, guys, because our slave and worker node are dynamic. How dynamic? Because we launch in the Docker or maybe in the Kubernetes, and you guys know whenever we require these node or worker node launch, it's called dynamic provision, and after they do their task, it terminated. And this is the challenge we have. Okay, so it's something like this. You can think in this way, something like this. We ask this stage in this job to run and we'll download from GitHub. Who download? My node one. What is this node one? Is it independent OS with independent hardware and independent storage also. As the guys, this is the main key to understand. So this is the independent storage they have. Okay. Now challenge here is, okay, after the download from the GitHub, okay, they download the code from the GitHub in their storage of this OS or this container. After the download, their job and their stage is done, and after their after their job is done, they terminate this node, and the node terminate, the storage is also terminated. Okay, and obviously, guys, if your storage terminated, so what a code they downloaded is will removed. If code remove, so how my next stage or next job where we are going to use Maven, and Maven need a code, and now because my code is there in that OS and that is terminated, how Maven gonna build it? Okay, and second thing is, okay, because this, even though let's say you was in the static node, let's say OS is not destroying, is not terminated, but even though if you go to static node also, and let's say IP of this guy is 1 and IP of this guy is 2, and we ask Maven to run this job in IP 2, but my Git code is downloaded in IP 1. Okay, so my code is in there in the IP 1 storage, and my Maven need this code in IP 2 storage, and there is not available obviously because Git is downloaded in another node. So how my Maven build? So technically, if you create a pipeline where you multiple job together or multiple stages, you connect each other. Okay, and if you have this plan to run all the stages in different node, and this very important plan, we always want to do this, and this is a good design to have, but you will always stuck with this issue. Okay, first node, whatever data code they build, they downloaded. Okay, how we pass this code, that's my main point here. So how we pass this code here, and even after Maven build, they create a jar file or artifact or package. How we pass this package here? Okay, if you run everything in one single node, that's so simple. And that trick, guys, I did in my last class. So I don't know if you noticed this point or not. I had created 3 stages. Okay, but I did all the steps of downloading GitHub, running Maven, deploying my code in one stage only. If I'm running everything in one stage, so everything we're gonna run in one OS. So there's no issue of transferring here and there. So this trick I did in my last class. As such, no one as such noticed there. Maybe some of the guys might notice. It was running fine. Okay, but technically this is not the way we have to, if you want it. Okay, I want every stage to be run manually. And again, guys, now I understand what challenge I am talking about. Technical challenge here is whatever data I finally process here, I want to transfer here. What I get as a final output here, I want to transfer here. Okay, that's what our plan is. And there's a very important plan, and there's very important topic to understand according to my knowledge. Okay, this topic is so much useful, but none of the Jenkins classes or training or advanced training, I don't know why this particular topic not covered. But in real good use cases, this is the stage or step we always start. And that's what, guys, I want to show you how to solve this challenge. Okay, so let's go and try to implement this, how we can tackle this particular problem. So in my case, guys, both the node is running. Let me go to my Jenkins server. So my Jenkins is running. my Docker system is also running because I want to create a dynamic environment. And I'm going to use a job, I think this one, what I created in our last class. Okay, so this was the job. Okay, this is not actually job. Job was it is running everything in one single node. So our job was different. The job was I don't know. I always give a this kind of name. I don't know what. What my guys? Remember guys which job we created for this auto job? What my guys? Because there I already have the code, so I just want to change something in this code. One minute, guys. 1 minute. Okay, do one thing. Let's just change here in this job. Okay. So actually, this is the sheet job. 1 minute. Let me change it. So the idea. First of all, you guys know I don't want to run my job in any of the agent by default. I just go for none, and I want my job will run per stage wise. Okay, so I am allocating one agent over here. Okay, and for this I'm going to give a label, and my level I think is called my slave. I believe this was the level we use. This level is connected to my Docker. Okay, so this stage will launch in this particular slave node, and this slave node is dynamic. So dynamic they launch, and this steps gonna. So this is the one stage. We can think this is the one of the job. Okay, then I'm going to run one more job or one more stage, and again I'm allocating to one of my agent. Okay, and one more I had here. Let me run this. So this practical as we did in our last class and working very nice. Very quickly, let's go and check. Build. So technically they run this job in three different slave node. Okay, and they launch slave node and they run all the job there. This part you know. But here guys, in our use cases, what I wanted here, so in my in our use cases, we had some code in GitHub. Let me very quickly download this code and now come up to this topic. Okay, so I want one of my stage one. Let me have this code running. So they run this job first. Okay, so guys, everything working good, and then they're on second, third. So it will work for us. Obviously, we tested this code in last class also. Okay, so what I want here in this code, I want one of my stage will download. Okay, my code from GitHub. So I think guys, I told you in my last class. So we have a Git as a keyword here as a stage, and here we can give the path. Okay, that's what we can do here, and there's no meaning of sleep here. So this is one of the stage that will download my code. Okay, in my next stage, okay, I want to use Maven. Okay, and for the Maven, we can use mvn command. Like guys, here we don't have a steps available for Maven, so we can ask to use sh command. Okay, so this stage will helping me to package the Maven. Okay, and last stage is helping me to again run one more step called Java -jar. Okay, and in the target folder, whatever file come up with Java extension run. So this is the guy's right way to do it, right? But in this example, you will see it will fail. In last example, guys, in last day it was working fine. Why? Because I did one small trick. This command, and this command I put inside one step. Because I put in one step, so all those steps gonna run in one node only. So there's no meaning of transferring any code or any data here and there. Because everything is running in the one single agent. Okay, but technically we don't want this. I want everything run in different agents. So today what you will see, guys, first we'll run properly. Their duty is to run the Git, launch the Docker container, download Git there, and they terminate. Second container, launch new container, and here Maven asking for the code, but in second container the code is not available. The first one is terminated, and they haven't passed and transfer our code here. So this will fail. So let's see this particular output. Okay, so let me again run. And what you will see here, so I just am waiting for this guy to fail. So first they're launching the Docker, and here in this Docker, they are going to run Git. Okay, that's what they're doing. And this Git download everything in this Docker. After this Docker will terminate, or maybe not terminate, it's not important. Okay, but my code is downloaded in my first slave node. Now second slave node is start going to launch. Okay, and they're looking for the code, but it's not there. So Maven will either skip or they fail, whatever the by default due to Maven. Okay, so the second one launch is different. See here, the name is 8RQ in the last. This is different node. Maven is looking for the code and the build failure because they're looking for the code and the code is not available. Technical Maven, when you run the Maven command, okay, they're looking for POM file. I told you already, and code is not there. POM file is not there. So obviously Maven failed. They failed. Okay, and they fail because they fail. They skip the understanding. This is the by default nature of Jenkins in the pipeline. If one of the stage fail, they skip remaining one. We have some way to bypass also. There's a different point keyboard available, but there's a by default. Obviously is right. If my code is failed, there's no package create, so there's no meaning of deploy. So because this stage failed, so every other stage been skipped. Okay, so now guys, I think my use case is so clear by this practical and how to solve it. So now guys, let me show you how to solve this particular use case. So there's one concept in the Jenkins, okay, to solve this particular use case. Concept something like this. Let's say this is slave 1, worker node 1. This is worker node 2. Now it is not at all important this worker node is static node or dynamic node, and this is the Jenkins master I'm talking about, who manage every job for you. Okay, so whenever you're doing any operation in this slave, means you're running any job or maybe stage or any steps in the slave node, and in the steps they are generating some data and they're storing this data. And this one, guys, only I'm talking about storing a data. I'm not talking any data that is there on the RAM, means like a variable. If this job is storing any data, obviously in the file, obviously inside a folder, in some of the part of the storage or person, right? So, okay, So in the stage, we have a property. We can ask my Jenkins master, okay, do one thing, go to this folder, go to this file and create a copy of this file temporary in the Jenkins master, because you are the one who are managing me. So a master storage obviously is always permanent till the master run. So when this storage stage is running, so this file, this folder, this package, what do I want to create? So what do I want to create a temporary copy? You can pass this temporary copy to the master. So master will hand this temporary copy. And why I'm saying this temporary copy, because the life of this copy of this file or this entire folder, what I want to get a copy, is the life of a pipeline. So as soon as a pipeline stop, they will terminate this copy, and that's what we needed. That's what we want here. Okay, so we ask them to create a copy, and now let's say this file is required by job number 3 or stage number 3. So this stage number 3 will contact to this Jenkins master, because it's part of the same pipeline, and say what a copy you had created initially. Okay, just send me this copy to me, because I want to use this copy of the file and this entire folder somewhere in one of my steps. Okay, so this is one good, very interesting facility provided by the Jenkins Jenkins pipeline. The pipeline is a code. They have a keyword for this, and you don't have to worry about how they get a copy, how they transfer, which protocol they use. Everything is been abstracted, hidden by Jenkins pipeline. Just you have to tell them which file and folder you have to copy. And by chance, one more interesting use case come up here. If your steps is running and steps has some temporary variable also, and now you can use this concept also. So we can store this variable value in some local file. Okay, like variable may be X. So you can ask echo command print the $X, or what output come up stored in some local file over here, and ask the master, this is the file I have, also create a copy of it. So you can also use a trick of normal Linux commands or Windows command to store variable, and also pass the variable value also from one stage to other stage. There's also different point here as a trick you can use. Okay, but technically this concept is known as stash. Okay, so stash is one keyword in Jenkins pipeline. Okay, through which in this stage you can say, I want Jenkins master stash this file. And this stage 3, okay, say here, whatever you stash here, I want to use it, is called unstash. Okay, and guys, this concept somehow anybody know Git, right? So if you guys was with me in my Git or GitHub workshop that I took at a very detailed level, they also are, guys, I explain you a concept of Git stash. Okay, again, it is not the same, but again, logic wise, the same stage means they create a temporary copy and they store somewhere in the memory, and they do some change of work area, and then again unstash. So something like this. Okay, but here logic wise is what are same, but somehow they are also same. But here the motto here is they were transferring the file from one slave to other slave. Okay, so that's the only thing we have to do. Okay, and how many stages you can create? Multiple. So you want to create copy file 1, file 2 in different folder, other folder. Okay, you can get 10 stages. But how can we how come to know which file this guy want to unstash? So that is the reason, guys, when you create a stash, every stash you have to give a name. It's like a tag. So for this file, you can give a tag. Let's say this is my important file. Second file, you can say this is my variable file. So tens of files or entire folder you can stash, but at a time of stash you can give the name, and any stage you want to use this means on stage they want to do, and they can say whatever name you give that time, I want to use this. Just transfer to it. So there's the idea. You can do it. So very simple to do, but very important concept to be used. So how to do this? Let me show you over here. Okay. So what I'm doing here, after git download, you guys know, whenever you do any operation in Jenkins, okay, they create a workspace. What is a workspace, guys? You know already. We discussed. Okay, so when a GitHub download, they download everything in the workspace. Okay, very quickly, I just want to show you. I'm running a ss command with list. Okay, and I'm also running ss command if by chance if they print pwd command. I'm not pretty sure. Okay, if they print your present working directory. Just to show you. Okay, after download, okay, where they download in your working space, they will print the path of this, and they will also list whatever they download. Very quickly, I just want to show you. Nothing is very sorry. Very special here, but the point here I just want to tell you here is this is my stage 1 and this stage is running in my worker node 1. So they download in one of the folder of this worker node, and that folder is called workspace. And what they download multiple files, multiple folders, multiple code, which part you want to stage. Okay, this is what I want to show you quickly, but here I want to stress everything because they download everything from the GitHub. So I want to have a copy of entire thing. So the entire thing I can pass to my next stage, because my next stage here, Maven build. If Maven don't have the entire data, how they can create a package? Okay, so that's what I want to do here. So well, let me very quickly check. Okay, if they show you, yeah. So guys, after download, okay, they download in this folder. See here. So in this Docker container is a different OS altogether, different slave altogether. They create a folder called workspace. Inside this, create a folder called a1, whatever my job name is. They create a folder, and inside this folder, they copy all this file. So my plan is to guys transfer all this file, but at least these 2 files, because you guys know according to Maven, they need POM file, and obviously they also need source code. So at least these 2 files we need to be transferred. Or let's say I want to transfer all the files. Wherever I'm in my workspace. So you're already here, okay, or wherever you are, you have to transfer everything. So how can you do? Let's start from here. So what I'm doing here in my first stage, that is equals to running in my different worker node. Here, what I'm doing, I'm asking my stash. Okay, in your folder, there's some file. I want to include some of the file. Okay, some of the file. Okay, which file to include? I want to include only POM file. Okay, or maybe you can write here star. Obviously, star means all the files wherever I'm in my current folder. Here I want to include all the file. Okay, and this this all the file I want to tag with some name or some name. And here let's say name would be my app. That's all. Okay, so guys, that's the meaning of that's the way we write. So guys, this line means, let me make it little bit more clear. POM.xml. Okay, so this line means you asking the stash in this current folder wherever you are, because we haven't given any path like my data. So in this current path, if you find pom.xml, okay, pom.xml, let me put in single quote. It's a good practice to put here. So you find this file, store temporarily somewhere, obviously in the master node with this tag. Okay, so we can do. And why I'm doing this tag we are giving, because my next stage in my next agent, I will use this tag somewhere. But here I want to store all the file, because I don't do get all my Git data. So I'm using star. Okay. And now I'm going to my next stage. They're going to run in a different worker node altogether. Okay. Here we will do unstash. How? So before Maven run, I will use a command called unstash and say, we'll contact to master node and say, you have used some temporary data somewhere with this tag called my app. Okay. Just go and provide this data to me in my agent or my worker node in my workspace. Okay. And then I will use Maven. So that's all, guys. So simple, actually, technically we see here, but very powerful property if you try to think. Okay, very powerful property. Now your agent is dynamic or static. Your data will transfer here and there. Everything will taken care by Jenkins. You don't have to worry about. There is other alternative also. I've seen a lot of guys in organization what they do normally. Okay, not everybody know by chance this property. Okay, so what they do, what are the agent they launch, and after they data they done something on the data, then they use SCP command or FTP command to transfer here and there. That's also we can do, but you have to use it, right? You have to practically implement those commands. Okay, but here everything is done dynamically or automatically by Jenkins. That's always the good thing. Okay, so let me run this job. So now what you will see, let's see on the fly. First, my slave node gonna launch. Okay, 1 minute. I'm just waiting for this guy. So the launch. Now you can see, guys, now here you can see the word stage, not stage. Yeah, here stage. So what it is written, whatever file you had in this folder, this stash. Okay, now they are launching. Next thing, now here they unstash everything. Or because they unstash everything, one of the file you will have is POM file. So Maven is very happy. Now this time, last time they feel. Okay, this time is very happy because they find POM file, and now Maven start their routine. Guys, not simple thing. Now this Maven is running in entirely different worker node, right? But they get the code that is download or created or transformed by, maybe have some ETL operation, maybe. Or this is, guys, good use case for ETL also. Anybody who know ETL, extract, transform, load. Okay, you can do ETL operation. So one worker node is doing extract operation, one is doing transformation operation, one is doing loading operation. So entire ETL job also you can perform by this context. Okay, so just one very good idea and a lot of things you can develop on top of this. My third job will fail here by chance. You guys know why it's failed. Third job will fail because my third job is asking that they want to run it, and they are going to run a different slave altogether, and that slave doesn't have this file. So what to do? Nothing. Again, we go to my stage number 2 and say, after Maven package done, we know they create a jar file. So again, we can stage is this will be new stage to include some of the file. And we know, guys, they create a jar file and target folder with some name .jar. Okay, same thing I'm doing here. And this time I'm giving this guy a new name. Let's say name equals to my jar, for example. That's all. So what are, guys, this stage done in this slave node? But I think we have colon here. Okay. Yeah. So what are the slave is doing here? We store again a different name altogether. Then I go to new stage or new job, and I ask here to unstash. Okay, I want to unstash. my jar. That's all. So now everybody is connected to each other. Okay, and now they get dot jar, and because they will run. So it is so cool, so simple also. If you know the concept, now it's so simple. Okay, so let me show you. Obviously, this will fail because of, I believe, because of my last step. Okay, so this step was done, but my next step failed. They don't find this file here because different node altogether. But now if I build, you will see we will transform here and there, and you will have final thing. So guys, we see when you see pipeline, whenever you use pipeline, this is the what we always want. And they will run for you. So this is one of the topic I want to discuss with you today, and that's what we have done here. Okay, after this, let me show you one more small topic. I already explained you this concept in my last class. This is called parameterized, how to create your job as a parameterized, but how how you can create a parameter in your what I say, in your pipeline. Let me show you, because parameter is a very common thing we always need. Maybe in this case, I can ask my job, do you want to they want to do a testing or not, or going to create a package or not, yes or no. Okay, or something like this. Or maybe one of my job is printing some name, I can pass some name to print. So what is use of parameter, you guys know how to create a parameter. Here we will discuss. Okay, but let me have this job to be completed. Just I'm holding guys for 1 minute. I'm just muting myself. So I think it's going to complete. Let's see. Yeah, so that part is done. I don't know. Maybe take normally sometime. And guys, if you know, in the Docker world, a permanent storage is called PVC. So maybe we'll download once there, use and mount the same storage. Okay, so same thing, they won't download again and again. Okay, so whatever they're downloading first time, you store somewhere. Okay, and then then mount the same storage. If you know guys about permanent storage, that concept you use. So they store guys the jar in this file, and what target we have this file we stash here. And now new environment launch, this is the third one. Okay, and they try to launch something here, but it won't work. They say again, we don't find this file. Okay, one of the reason they don't find this file, I believe here, because then a small mistake here, because I asked to copy only this file, not the target folder. So only this file copy in their new workspace here. So to give the path only to this file. If I give the wrong path, there's a they fail. Okay, but we can very quickly fix it, and you can try and run it. Okay, just a small thing, because I asked only to copy this file. Okay, so to just run this file. Okay, that's one thing. But guys, by the meantime, let me also add some more thing here. If you want to create a parameterized right? So here in the pipeline, there's a keyword called parameters you can use to create a parameter. And here, what kind of parameter you can use, guys? Almost same parameter they support. They have Boolean, they have checkbox, they have a string type. I'm going to create a string type here. And how to create further, you have manual, you can go and check. So here I'm giving my variable name, let's say name variable, or let's say X, for example, is my variable name. And that's all, so simple. But if you're going to give us some default value, so you can go and use and create some default value. If nobody pass any value, let's say I want to use my Linux world as a value name. I want to give some description also here, so you can write the description. Okay, and let's say sorry, enter your name. Okay. Something. So this is, guys, so simple to create a parameter. Now this will be a normal text box, but you want to create a checkbox or Boolean multifunction. You have just search and document of pipeline. You will get a further variables name. How to print and how to use. Okay, so let me guess for this. Let me show you how to use. I'm putting in my stage 1 to show you the output. So let's say I want to print this value. I can say echo $x. That's all. So we can print this value. But here, guys, understand one thing. Okay, in Jenkins pipeline, because this value is coming from parameter. So by chance, guys, here they organize this parameter in multiple name spaces. Okay, what I mean by this. So in the Jenkins, guys, there's one more kind of parameters they have. Okay, what I mean by this, let me open a new terminal. Whenever you create a new job, or when you create any job, let's say some job I'm creating here, okay, as a freestyle job, okay, there's some parameter or some variable you can create. How here, this job is parameterized, and this some parameter is already available by default per job basis. Okay, what I mean by this, if you go to build step and if you run some command, and here, guys, there's, if you see, there's one link here, list of available environmental variable. So every job wise, guys, they create some variable for you. For example, one of the variable they keep the variable your job name. You guys, when you create a job, you always build, every build has a build number. So in your code, if you want to use some condition that I am running this job, and if this build number is 4, okay, and the status is failure, then send a mail. So if you have this kind of use case you have, so how your code will check which build number you have, or how much time you build take to build it. So per build basis, Jenkins has provided some variable from where you can fetch details about your job. And all the variable, whatever they have per build basis, you can find from this link. Okay, so they have branch name, for example, whatever, guys, data you download from the GitHub or any branches. So in the future, you want to check something, if this data is downloaded from the master branch, then do this, and from feature branch or some other branches, do this. So there might be some practical, guys, we might see in the multi-branch project. I will discuss that. Right, so there's a lot of things, guys, here. If you see tag names, date, job name, my build tag names, executor number. So all the in node level, you know, which node we launch. So whatever the, guys, information or metadata about this job, they store in this variable. Just for example, I'm just want to print this value. Okay, so I can use this variable here, and let me print this value with echo command. And now what happened when I run this job? Okay, run this job. This job is going to run somewhere. Okay, or maybe in the bigger project, your distributed environment, your job will be run in some of the slave node, and you want to retrieve which node they run, they run. Accordingly, you take some decision. Or maybe you have to write something like this: if this job run in this node, do this, or in this node, do this. Some kind of this kind of planning if you want to do, so you can do it if only if you know the name of your node. So how you retrieve the name node or name of the node of slave? So you can see here they printed. So obviously, guys, this job is run right now in my master. Okay, so there are a lot of beautiful planning you can do by using these variables. That's what I want to show you here. So technically, now my conclusion here is there are some variables is pre-provided by Jenkins. It is also known as job variables or I can say system variable. And there's some variable that we can create is called user defined variable. Okay. And if you want to create the user defined variable, it's so simple, you know, in the top, you can go and over here, you can create your own personal variable. I show you some of my classes. But this is also variable, and these are also a variable here. This variable, they provide you the value. These variables, you will ask your value, or you can set the different value. Okay, so why I'm discussing this point over here to you, because in the pipeline, okay, if you want to use any pre-created variable, you can directly use it. Okay, you can directly use this the way you use normally. but if you want to use any variable that is created by us, and this variable we have created, so this is maintained in a different way, or it is sometimes also known as workspace. Okay, so if you want to use this X, you say this X is maintained by us. It is a user defined variable, and they maintain, guys, here in a params namespace. Okay, so you can ask params to print. Okay, and now the syntax that you use, because this is a different namespace than name of the variable, you use something like curly braces to represent this, and obviously you have to put everything in the double quotes. So my simple summary is my simple summary is, if you create any variable by yourself, it's called user defined variable with default value, or you pass your value. And if you want to use this variable somewhere in your code, obviously this is what we have created. So to tell that this is the variable we have created, and name of the variable is this. Or maybe in the code we can pass some string. Let's say my name is and colon, then whatever value you have, you can get it. So there's the idea. Or any system variable you want to use, you can use is directly. There is no challenge. So we can say if you download the code from Git and your branch name is dev, do this. If branch name is QA, do this. If branch is master, do this. How you come to know what is a branch? Okay, so when you got download from GitHub, okay, they maintain the branch, and this branch is managed in some of the GitHub branch. And accordingly, you can say if the branch this one, do this, those. So this kind of program you can do. Big interesting thing is, now because we are doing everything as a code, here we have a kind of syntax of if or else. If you want to show you some demo of this, and so because we can set if or else, so we can do a lot of planning properly. Okay, that's what I'm trying to explain here. So now if I again build, now what happened? While building right now, guys, they are launching my first worker node, but here I use some parameter, so they will ask me the value. After I give the value, then they start the next part. Okay, so how to use parameter, guys, we have already seen. What happened? One minute. Oh, sorry, because I have provided my default value, so they won't ask me, obviously. So 1 minute, guys. Obviously, because ask the value, or maybe here you can ask, I use this one. Yeah, here they ask me, right? Build. I don't know how I run that time. Let me close this one, close this job. Okay, so I click build with parameter, and this is the default value of I want to change my name. For example, I'm changing my name. I build, now it go to X variable, my job start, and where I use the job accordingly there. Okay, so design, what is parameter, guys, we had discussed already. So just, but how to use the pipeline, that's what I'm to explain here. After you have in the variable, now it is a game of your programming skills, how you use in the program. Okay, so guys, 1 minute, guys, please. So guys, that's all for today. We will talk more about this pipeline as a code. Most important things I want to explain you today, guys, by since they printed my name. All right. So most important thing, guys, to explain today is is use test and or the use case test and answer test. So very important, whatever pipeline you have, you can accordingly plan your projects. So that's all, guys, for today. See you tomorrow. We'll see some more thing about pipeline as a code, and then we'll close and we'll then move to the next concept of the Jenkins. Okay. Any questions, guys? If you have, quickly you can ask. So actually, Saswant, it is not about what you're asking about, which one is intelligent, like Rocket, Podman, and Cryo. Okay. It is about mainly their focus area is more about standardized, which is more standardized toward CI compatibility, and which is more compatible with Kubernetes. So Kubernetes, I say Cryo is a product we built, and we make this project to be most and more compatible with the Kubernetes. So we support more Cryo. Okay, something like this. So it is not about technically all the features what container need almost everyone has, because everybody is just a API, because behind the scene they use runtime, right? Like Runcy. So because whatever capability Runcy has, same thing Docker and Podman has. It means everyone has same. Okay, but wherever you want to use Docker and Podman Rocket on Cryo, like with Swarm or with Kubernetes, what they want, what facility they have a compatible with. So we have to think in this way. I think Saswan, maybe you understand what I'm trying to tell you here, depend upon the question you asked. It is good practice to use Stash, Node module, or Maven repository. Uh, I don't know, Shubham, what exactly you're talking about. Means I don't know what is the comparison you're asking me here. Okay, about means I don't know what. Guys, again they fail. I think I did again some small mistake, but technically they test it. They stash it, and but they don't find why. Let's guys go and check. Maybe some small again mistake I might did in the terms of path only. Technically, concept is same in the path only. Just try and check this. Okay, so nothing complex reason. So any further queries in the case Jenkins run their job on top of Kubernetes job? Yes, yes, Saswant, you are right. If you run Jenkins job on the top of Kubernetes, okay, and if you run Jenkins job as a Kubernetes job, okay, if this is the case, then after job complete, they terminate. Okay, so you're absolutely right. But understand one thing: if you run Jenkins job only not in the Kubernetes deployment, in the Kubernetes job concept. Then they terminate the code. Okay. Otherwise, they keep on running. If you can shed some light how to call choice parameter variable in shell uh, in shell command. Actually, I'm not clear. Actually, when somebody asked for 1+70 here, your name of your name here in chat box. Can you please a little bit elaborate what exactly you're asking me to call choice parameter in shell command? So in my shell command here, I not able to understand. Yes, Manan, Jenkins is purely working on the top of REST API. So all the compatibility or feature of REST API you can use. So technically, you can call the Jenkins job with their REST API methods. So they have get method, their post method, put method, everything they have. Okay. So obviously in this class, we are not going to talk about REST API because REST API more about programming perspective. But if you guys are with me in my Flash training where I'm training you guys on the REST API, use this concept. I'll tell you here how to get the API of Jenkins of REST. You can create your own app of Jenkins to control Jenkins from your REST API call. Can I parameterize my label as well? See, Vandra, you can try. I believe yes. Okay, I believe yes. You can parameterized. Just go and try because normally parameter we call inside the steps. Normally we call inside the steps. Okay, we never call as such in the agent part. Okay, but I suggest just try it. Maybe I haven't tried this. So does Jenkins pipeline support this? But it's a good question you asked. I think I understand why you're asking this. It will be very much dynamic. Very quickly, let's check what you asked. We can see on over here very quickly. So what I'm doing here, I am providing this level name over here as a default value, and I'm passing this in my level to check does this support or not. Logically, they meant for steps only, like in echo command or shell commands they use, or maybe some other conditions we can use. But does outside the steps they support? We can very quickly check by this way. So they are calling as such, there is no error is coming till now. Let's see. So I think it's working right. Okay, it's working right. So they understand level, right? And they're working. And let me very check quickly. Does I save this or not file? I watch very quick. Yeah. So technically what you're asking is working, right? You can pass also in the agent part. So the interesting use case for this is while running our job or pipeline, we can tell which level we have to work on or which particular slave node we have to work on. Okay, so that's also guys, you can at the fly you can type that I want to run my job in this particular node. That kind of use case you can solve here. How to unstash or stash using Jenkins GUI? I normally use Naman stash or unstash from pipeline command only. I don't think so. For pipeline, they have option in the GUI, right? I'm talking about pipeline. I don't think so. Maybe they have some plugin available from that there's option visible, but I don't think so in the GUI that will be visible. So that's all guys for today. See you tomorrow. We'll see some more interesting use case, then we'll move to the next topic. Bye, take care guys, take care and good night, see you.